You're watching AWANI Selecta with me, Ibrahim Sani. This show is an aggregator of all the things that has happened over the past week and trying to conclude it or comprise it into a short snippet for you to enjoy. Hopefully, in this next 10 to 15 minutes, you can see what's interesting on this channel. And if you want to go deeper, you can then select those shows and go deeper and watch those kind of shows.
But I want you to help us understand, just as a way of thinking about Malaysia, but through the lens of Pakistan and its problems and the strategies that were employed to deal with those problems. Could you give us a sense of what was it that the government saw going wrong when you came in as advisor? What was wrong? What was the diagnosis? And what was your prescription?
Okay, so basically what we were trying to see was the fact that 40% of the overall population, student population in Pakistan, end up going to the private sector. And then when I say the private sector, I mean private sector is a wide spectrum of private schools.
So it's 40%, that's huge.
Yeah, that's true. Because clearly one could see that people were not very eager to send their kids to the public education system. And of course they had their set of challenges, like I said, the resources, plus there were issues with the quality of teaching and learning. In certain cases we didn't have proper infrastructure in place. So basically this program, when we went into, so what we did was that instead of applying it across Pakistan, because the Prime Minister wanted to create a model for all the other federating units, we've got about 8 of these in Pakistan. So we came up with a model for Islamabad, which has a very interesting landscape, which has its rural population, which has its urban population, and there are still areas in Islamabad where access is still an issue. So what we tried to do was to come up with a program which would not only improve the access and provide conducive learning environment for the students, but basically mainly focus on the quality of teaching and learning. So these were the 3 areas where these were the 3 basic foundations which kind of helped us develop the entire program.
Ever since winning MasterChef, it has been non-stop, which is great, and I love it. I've done a lot of trips back to Malaysia, worked with a lot of different brands, a lot of media. I guess one of the main things is the restaurant, like Canteen. I started a food concept early last year, and I had it for 7 months. So Canteen is all based around Malaysian street food. So we had stuff like char kway teow, laksa, satays, and then also a bit more fusion style, like soft shell crab sliders, and stuff like that. So there's a lot of Malaysian restaurants in Australia, but I would say like not all of them are quite authentic or have that flavor. So what I wanted to bring to the people was to bring good Malaysian food at a good reasonable price, and just sort of, you know, I sold like this char kway teow dish. I did so many plates of it. I was cooking over 200 plates a day, but the, you know, Australians didn't know how to even pronounce it. They always go char kway teow or whatever, but they knew what to order. I had people coming in every day to eat that dish, and I'm like, please don't eat so much of this, not good for your health. I guess my advice for any aspiring chefs would be to just have confidence in what you do. Obviously understand the basics of food. Me coming from a non-professional cooking environment or chefing, for example, my biggest strength is trusting my palate and understanding the basics. So whether it's like, you know, just spending time chopping up 100 onions or whatever, that is your basic, or like filleting a fish. I think that's really important to understand the core and understand produce really well, because you can always make something really tasty as long as you have good produce. So you can have, food doesn't have to be complicated, really. One of my favorite things to have is bread and butter. Like the best bread and butter, and I'm happy. You know what I mean? So I think for me it's just having simple things, but simple things done right, rather than doing too much and it's not great.
I think not only in Asia, this is the aspect of urbanization. I think every cities in the global increase in terms of the urbanization. It's more people staying in the cities. And how is it related to SDG 11? I think is, for example, like in Malaysia or in Asia Pacific. In Malaysia, in 2030, 80% of the population will live in the cities, not urbanized. I think first thing is that we should understand when we talk about sustainable development, we talk about urbanization, is the status of that country in terms of development. And one thing that is very, very required is about we have to know the information or the data. Data is very important. You were talking about, how can I judge or align with the SDG 11 if we don't have a measurement or a data to see where are Malaysia now? To what extent? What do you mean by sustainable? What do you mean by resilient? And everybody talking about climate change, resilient. But what are the measurement? That is where UN Habitat can fill in the gap. In the UN language, you said that we are doing the normative part, meaning that giving the help to the countries. This is the tools that you need to know your baseline data. Before you talk about sustainability, you have to know. That's why I used to say that in global arena, I used to say that the government or the mayors, they have to think local. People used to say that think global, act local. But I said think local. You must know your challenges, must know your weaknesses, must know your opportunities. Where are you, the baseline? Then, in order to know that, UN Habitat can give you the tools. We have the City Prosperity Index. We have the people's process. We have the tools. And once we know that, then we look forward. How can we move forward? Can we, UN Habitat, help the country or the city to move forward? And first thing is we should look into a very holistic manner, because many countries, many cities, not only Malaysia, they are very fragmented. Ministry is talking about their ministry. This ministry talking about this. Everybody claim to be sustainable, but sometimes they are not connected. But I always promote to have a holistic, integrated, sustainable development plan.
Chris, thanks for having us. The last time we spoke was not on a TV channel.
Right.
It was many years ago on a radio station here in
Sure.
KL. And it's been quite a while since we have spoken to you. But Fund My Home, really, let's discuss a little bit about what it's all about.
Okay, I think, first of all, Fund My Home is actually effectively being launched by our Prime Minister 2 days right after our budget announcement back in November. So I think at that time, there was some excitement in the budget announcement in relation to ownership, in relation to also the fact that, we want to make 2019 the perfect and ideal year to do home ownership for first-time home buyer. So this Fund My Home seems to be an alternative being launched at that time that take on the hype of the budget announcement and so on, this new innovation. So this whole idea of Fund My Home, if I can put it very simple to you, is that it is just addressing the concern that we have currently on whether the 1090 model that we have, is it still sustainable?
Okay, I want to catch you on that one.
Sure.
So 1090 meaning 10% deposit, 90% banking loan. Just like buying most properties, be it car or home or whatever in Malaysia, the owners would acquire 100% of the asset by putting down cash 10% down and taking that 90% loan. Why do you say this is a broken concept?
Okay, let's put this way first. As long as we know property investment or the way that you want to invest and buy a property in Malaysia has always been this 1090 concept. So what it means is that it's very conservative and it's actually shielding us. In fact, from the subprime crisis of 2008, I would attribute to the fact that we have very conservative banking system in terms of funding property purchase. So that's why we cut down a lot of speculation.
In this week's episode of The Society with Farhana, we talk about the second biggest health problems after heart disease, mental health disorders.
There was this voices inviting me to the balcony, and it's just drawing me to, look down. And there was a time I really wanted to just go down there because it was so peaceful.
Affecting more than 4.2 million Malaysians, we discuss some of the more common mental disorders and explore services that are available for mental health patients.
For some patients, it manifests as voices saying that you're useless, you better die.
We are getting emails from people as young as 11 years old, 12 years old, who are highly suicidal. Times like that, I think it's okay for us to reach out to just basically share your feelings and share your emotions.
That's it from me this week. Of course, what we compile on AWANI Selecta is just a short snippet of the bigger news and bigger events that are happening this week on our shows. But if you want to have an entire offering of the things that has happened here, just head on to our website and search for all the great news that we have put for you up there. Also, again, we are very interested to hear what you think of the events and the current shows that we are offering on our platform. Just hit us up on our Facebook page or on our Twitter at 501awani and discuss with us your thoughts about how to improve our offerings. That's it from me this week. Until next time.